What's up y'all, and today we're gonna do a basic cable sleeving guide. Now, cable sleeving has been very popular among modders because it can enhance the look of your build. Now for this cable sleeving guide, we're going to do our best to MacGyver everything out ourselves and use the cheapest parts or parts that we can just find from our house. Now for this cable sleeving guide, we're gonna do our best to use tools that can commonly be found on your house, like a scissor, a lighter, a screwdriver, or what I use here is a multi-bit screwdriver, and I'm gonna use the sharpest edge, but if you don't have, you can just use a toothpick, some staples, doesn't matter which size, but these staples will just do, some electrical tape, masking tape, and lastly the PET cable sleeving. Now it doesn't necessarily be PET, you can also use Paracord 550, but for the sake of this build guide, we ordered some PET cables from Amazon. The size of the PET is 1/8, as you can see, and we ordered black and white in order to match our previous build. If you haven't seen that build, check the link below. And what you'll also need is a lot of patience because cable sleeving is not for the faint of heart. So with that all aside, let's start cable sleeving. So what we're gonna be sleeving today is this 24-pin ATX power cable, as you see. Now the problem with 24-pin cables is that there are sides that have 2 wires inserted to each terminal. Like for this one, see? That's 2 wires inserted to each terminal. For that one, we might need to solder, or for this guide, we will not be soldering. We will find a way to make it pretty even though there is 2 wires that was inserted on this terminal. So in removing the wires, we have to use the staples. So this is a staple that we have modified to be in the L shape. See, it should be L shaped, and there should only be 1 staple. So let me get that. Or alternatively, you can buy tools from the internet, from ModPC, I don't know what the site is, that has a dedicated tool in removing the ATX wires from the connector. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a MacGyver tool that can remove the wire from the connector. So as you can see, we have our 24-pin ATX connector here with a spaghetti color coding, which I really hate. So we're gonna mod it by using cable sleeving. So here, as you can see, at the edges of the cable, we're gonna be putting these on both ends. We're gonna insert these both ends in order to release the pins and pull them out on the from the connector. So I'm gonna insert one for now on the other side, as you can see, and the other on the opposite side. Once you get something like this, should be even there. Once you get something like this, you should be able to pull the wire out of the connector. So here we're working with the purple wire, so I'm gonna like skewer these pins more inside just to feel if they have worked. So I felt that they have removed the wings from the connector, and will gently pull this wire out of the connector. See? So we've pulled the wire. That's the ATX pin we're seeing right there. Come on, focus. I hope the camera gets that. So it's these two wings at the side that we're trying to compress using those staples in order for us to pull the pin out. So once that is out, we're gonna try our best to straighten it using our hands. You can use other methods. You can straighten it up with a comb, with whatever means you have. So once it's straight, we'll use our cable sleeving. So now we're using this PET cable sleeving. It's colored white and black. We ordered 2 from Amazon because we're gonna be using this cable mod on our previous $800 build. If you haven't seen that build, we'll link the description. We'll link that video down below in the description so that you can check what type of build it is, what's the color scheme, why we're doing this black and white cable sleeving guide. So it's either you can use a ruler when cutting the PET cable in order to use them in order to be more accurate, but for me, I just eyeball it and then cut at the edge of the power supply. So I'm gonna measure it slightly above the wire, as you can see, like that, and then track that one along at the edge. So we're gonna cut it by eyeballing it. You can do it more accurately by measuring it with a ruler, with a tape measure, whatever tool you have, but for me, I just eyeball it, cut the edge. Now I just get this wire and use our tape. That's what the Scotch tape is for, masking tape, whatever you have. We'll get a small portion of the tape because we're gonna taper the edge of the pin using the tape so that these wings, see those wings, will not get tangled inside the PET sleeving. So we're just gonna tape it like so. Hope the camera catches the tape. You get the idea. Yeah, so it's okay. So after that, we're gonna be inserting our cable sleeve in the pin. So I'm gonna be inserting it like so. Make sure the wires is straight, the wire is straight, for it to be easier to go through. So after some time, you're gonna get stuck in the middle like this. You're gonna get something like that. So you haven't entered the wire all the way to the cable sleeving. So what I do is I pinch one side over here and then I try to push the sleeve inside until I go to the end until all of the sleeving goes through. Pinch, push, pinch, and then push. Cable sleeving requires a lot of patience, so if you're a little bit lazy, you can just buy some cable sleeves. You can just buy cable extensions, but those have resistance and those are quite expensive. What we're doing here is the MacGyver style. So after we've reached about the end, we're gonna leave some cover for the wire, as you can see, and then we're gonna use the cutter to remove the tape that we used earlier for the pin. So we're gonna remove that tape like so. But you have to be extra careful because you might ruin the pin's crimp. You're gonna have to crimp it again and buy pins. So that's how it is now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use now the lighter. I like to use Bic lighters for this one. Okay, then we're gonna taper the edge so that it doesn't have that so it should be snug into the wire. The sleeve should be snug in the wire. There are other methods of doing this, but we're doing the MacGyver way, as I told you. We're doing it as cheap as we could, but as clean as we can. So as long as the cable sleeving is snug and it won't be seen once we insert it into the ATX pin, then it's all good. So we're gonna try to insert it now in the ATX pin. Okay, so you should be able to hear a click and check if it went through. So it went through. It's tight, it's secured. Give it a small wiggle. You should be able to know if it's inserted. So we're gonna be continuing to do that on the other wires. Luckily for the double wires that were present in the ATX connector, we were able to sleeve them together and insert the wires in the ATX pin connector without having a bulge or it looking ugly. Now, if you like this video, we're planning to do a part 2 of this video where we sleeve the PCIe graphics card or pigtail connector that we have on our RX 580. And please support our channel by subscribing and watching our videos every Friday of the week. And as usual, see you in the next one.